I'm Aston Rocks. This is Lokai and Tiffany. We are the dynamic duo Clouds and Crayons.
I heard that friend zone ain't no fun.
We settled on crayons first, right?
We did.
We wanted the word crayon in there, and then it was just like, well, let's pick a word to either describe it or sounds like phonetically correct.
And so I remember having like a whole list in my phone notes, and I sent it to him one night.
Yeah, and I had some friends over at the studio, and I just kind of ran it by them, and then like everybody was like, "Clouds and Crayons is probably the best. I like that one." And everybody was like, "Okay, done." The end. No more arguing over band names because it's a difficult thing. Like song names, band names, anything that you're gonna have to name that way is like you might as well just name it something and just go move on.
Yeah.
So,
But I would never cross the line.
I'm gonna say, Sir Mix-a-Lot's I Like Big Bucks.
Nah.
Nah, I mean you're right. That's the only thing that can come to mind right now that I've been asked. What is my favorite 90s jam?
At the function, when someone plays Tootsie Roll, I'm on the floor. Family event, embarrassingly enough, school event, it doesn't matter. I'm okay with it. I'm totally down with doing the Tootsie Roll.
I can't stand us.
I usually say electro soul, because like we combine the soul and the electronica together, and they don't really exist without each other in our music.
You with them girls, oh, but I
In the marching band in high school, I marched trumpet and eventually moved on to the drum line and played bass drum to start and then finished with quads and took up software production when I was like 12. So I've been doing it for a really long time, but that's just because it's always been something that's really interested me.
After graduating college, I didn't have to. I started an internship in Beijing that I was promised pay. It was not paid. And I had to kind of find a job in the meantime because I was abroad with, no money. And virtually no money. And there was a space, it's called Ho-Hai Lake. Kind of made a deal with the venue owner and asked if I could sing. And it was really a suggestion from a friend, like, yo, you don't have money, I bet you can go to Ho-Hai and get yourself a singing job at a bar. And I'm like, well, what have I got to lose at this point? And that's what started it for me, because I always dreamt about singing. It was something like a secret that I carried inside for a while. But it wasn't until I had no other choice that I really started singing in public. And then it was spring of 2013 when I sang my original music for the first time. And then that's when it bit me. And so, here we are.
you can't be mine.
I'm listening to the newest Auto Lux record. It's called Pussy's Dead.
Oh, wow.
It sounds like a super hard metal band, but it's actually not. It's really awesome. It's got one of my favorite drummers, Carla Azar. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Frank. It's a new take on like just nighttime indie music that's kind of got like a nighttime vibe about it, but it's also like very organic and electronic at the same time. I don't know. I just really enjoy it. I suggest anybody to check out any of their records. Auto Lux, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, I recently discovered Seb de Liza, who's out of Amsterdam. Like I said, of course, Abra. There's a rapper out of Tennessee named Baby Mother. I'm obsessed with her right now. I was listening to Jasmine Sullivan all day yesterday. And I think who else? And more than ever, ironically, I've been listening to a lot of music on the radio. just because it's silly and fun. Oh, and there's a poet out of Jackson named Vitamin C. I've been really rocking with her stuff as well. Those are, I guess, are like my main five.
Next is another full length with at least twice as much material as the initial release. And then she's also got a film coming out with for the first record, Love Soliloquy. Every song on the record has a music video, and they all tie together. And she could probably tell you about it.
Yeah, I can. Two of the videos are already available online. One for The Ties and one for Never Make Love. So now we're just waiting for the final five. They're all in post. And I'm not going to tell you when it's going to be released, but it will be soon.
Okay.
If you broke my heart, I wouldn't know how to act.
Film. Film is a really big part of my life because I see music visually, or when I'm listening to a song. Especially like when I was younger, I would always think of like, how would I direct the music video to this song? You know, like I'm really listening to what they're saying. So that and free writing is something that I do very often. I try to do that every day just to keep words at the top of my head, or to keep the creative process going. And I really like dancing. I do. I really enjoy it.
For me, just life experience, creating art in a physical medium and in film as well. I find that having a nice balance between everything kind of gives you new perspectives on each one, depending on like what you're working on at the time. So I like to kind of, it's like reading several books at one time. You know, like you start on one and you kind of get indulged with it. You start on another one and you get indulged in that, but like it also gives you a new perspective on the previous one. So yeah, I think working on a lot of different projects in close succession is good for overall creativity.
And if we move together, we'd immediate.
It changes. We usually, like what we did today was, we're like, okay, what have we been listening to? What's been grabbing our attention? What's the vein? Like that's the question you'll always ask, like what vein are we in? And we pull up some songs, or I'll like create a playlist of songs that I've been listening to. Because I revisit, I usually revisit a lot of the same artists. So sometimes it's a little difficult, but what I'll do is like I remember having a playlist of like maybe like 15, 20 different songs. And then from what we listen to, he'll create a track and I'll create words. Or sometimes I'll just, the whole in the shower story, just a melody that can't get out of my head, and I'll come and I'm like, this is a melody. I can't get it out of my head. I don't know if we're going to do anything with it or create anything around it, but I think we should.
Yeah, the creative process for us is we generally try to produce as much new material as we can as quickly as we can, and then kind of whittle down like the best of out of that. So like we may have 30 or 40 ideas. By the end of the writing process, we will only refine that into like 13 or 14 songs that are finished. And when we're writing, the goal is to like kind of, well, she said the vein, but really just the emotional context, like the underlying emotional like wave that the song needs to be on. I try to match with what her perspective is on music at the moment. So a lot of it is really highly based on like emotional cues and triggers in music. So like if it's creepy or scary or spooky, like we try to work into that. If it's happy or fun and funky, we'll work into that. Where if it's kind of cynical and funny, or something.
Yeah.
Just whatever emotional context
Those are
the song
usually the
carries
three.
forward.
Those are usually the
There's more.
Yeah, but those are our go-tos.
It's either sad bastard funny, or happy fun dance time.
Nowhere in between. Nothing in between.
Yeah, nothing in between.
Repeating this out loud.
I like our new one, Nightmare,
Yeah.
to play, just because it's really engaging for me, because I have to jump back and forth between the keys and the guitar, and also managing all the computer stuff. So that was a lot of fun, just because it's a challenge for me. I would also say Contradiction, because it feels good to play. Yeah.
It bounces, it changes. Contradiction is fun just because I get to play with the beat repeat. And a couple of my audience members are always dancing to it, so it's fun to dance with them. Ugly Like Noise is fun just because I get to like go like the full extent of my voice, and it's because it's one of the most grittiest and honest songs on the album. It feels like a release when I sing it.
I believe I have it now. 'Cause my friends all
Like before we even started working on this project, she was hanging out with another friend of mine named Justin. They were dating at the time, and that was the first time I met her. And we were just kind of acquaintances then, until she put out Letters from the Transient.
Yeah.
And like we just started crossing paths more. I was in Midtown regularly, and my friend Clay was living across the street at the time, and she was at Offbeat, so we would always, kind of mutually see each other. And then Philip Rollins, or DJ Young Venom, you were talking to him about like wanting to work on a new record, and he was all like, "Oh, you got to go talk to Trey because he's versatile and can probably give you what you want." And that's kind of how it started. She came over here, asked if I was interested in working on a record. I said, sure. And then she eventually said, do you want to be a band? Do you want to play this in front of people? And I was like, I haven't done that in a really long time. So that seems like a lot of, yeah, let's do it. Could be a good time.
But it's been really fun, and coming in here has been it's been a blessing just because it's kind of been. It's been our vintage spot, it's been our chill spot, it's been our, like, I can't write sometimes unless I'm in here, so.
Anyway, we linked up, we did the thing. Now
We did the thing.
we're out and about.
Yeah.
Being music.
Being
America.
music.
that your love